Hi dear students, today's class is on the topic forensic botany. So today we are going to start a new topic. After this session, you will be learning what is forensic botany, subspecialties or applications of forensic botany, and about botanical evidences, the sources of botanical evidence, the value of botanical evidence, and the collection and preservation of botanical evidence. So without any further delay, let's move on to the topic. So today's session is on role of plants in forensics. Before going to our topic, let's check what is forensic science. As you all know, forensic science is the application of scientific knowledge and methodology in criminal investigations or to legal problems. So, it is a multidisciplinary subject. That means it encompasses various fields of science such as physics, biology, chemistry, geology, psychology, engineering, etc. So if it is physics, it is called as forensic physics. If you are using the knowledge of chemistry, it is called as forensic chemistry. Likewise, forensic botany. So we know so many uses of plants, so many aesthetic uses of plants such as food, medicine, etc. But when it comes to plant poisoning or any trace or transfer evidences that can help in criminal investigation, there comes the importance of forensic botany. So what is forensic botany? So let's check the definition. Forensic botany is the application of plant science to legal matters. That means using the clues from plants in order to aid in the solution of serious crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and the cause of death of the victim. The forensic aspects requires an understanding of what is necessary for botanical evidences to be accepted as evidence in our judicial system. So let me explain once again the definition of forensic botany. So down you will be seeing the definition. Forensic botany is the application of plant science to legal matters. That is the use of plant and the parts of plants as well as the aquatic life or the microorganisms to solve the serious crimes such as murder, kidnapping, etc. Now, the basic concept of forensic botany. So what is the basic concept of forensic science? As you all know, the basic concept of forensic science is Locard's principle of exchange. Likewise, the concept of forensic botany also lies on the Locard's principle of exchange. Locard's principle of exchange state that any time two or more objects or surface comes in contact with each other, there is a mutual exchange of trace matter between the two surfaces. That means every contact leaves a trace. So the same principle we are taking as the basic concept of forensic botany. The crime scene investigation can be further classified or considered as the first and most crucial step of any forensic investigations. For every physical evidence, including botanical samples, there are three crucial steps that must adhere to the crime scene. First and the foremost one is recognition of the evidence, then the appropriate collection methods, and the adequate preservation. So what are physical evidences? You know that any material that can link to the crime scene, the victim and the suspect is called as a physical evidence. So physical evidence is often classified as biological, chemical or pattern evidence. Physical evidence can also be further divided into 5 general categories: transient, conditional, pattern, transfer and associate evidence. So the botanical evidence comes under the classification of transfer evidences. Transfer evidences means the physical exchange of material when the objects comes into contact. So for example, we can say the paint chips, hair, fiber, soil, glass, and the plant matters. So what is the category of botanical evidence? Botanical evidence comes under the category of transfer evidence. So next we move on to the another topic, subspecialties of forensic botany. So I hope you all understood the basic concept of forensic botany. Next is subspecialties, or we can say the applications. So in this picture you can see the subspecialties or the applications of forensic botany. First and foremost it comes the morphology, then anatomy, plant systematics, ecology likewise. So in this picture you can see some of the applications of the forensic botany in criminal investigation. First one is palynology. So what is palynology? Palynology is the study of pollen grains, spores and acid resistant microorganisms. So when we are utilizing the palynology, the science of palynology to solve the criminal cases, that is called as forensic palynology. That we will discuss in another session, the differentiation criteria, the identification of pollen grains, all those things. So this is the first application of forensic botany. Next we will see ecology. So the second one is ecology. Ecology is the study of how plants interact with the air environments. So that is called as ecology. Next one is molecular biology. So the botanical evidence may be too small, or like we are not able to differentiate with their morphology, or if it is decomposed, something like that. So to identify the species, we seek the help of DNA. So that science or that branch, that area comes under molecular biology. The fourth one is dendrochronology. So dendrochronology is the study of tree rings to determine the age of the wood. So if we count the rings of the cut wood, we can identify or estimate the age of that particular plant. Then the next one is anatomy. So you all know what is anatomy. Anatomy is the study of internal structure of that plant. Next and the most important one is limnology. Limnology is the study of aquatic life, and here comes the diatoms. So diatoms are the most important thing in forensic botany. So in like drowning cases, we can encounter diatoms as the most important evidence, crucial evidence. So by finding out the species of which species of the diatom is present in which this particular aquatic area, we can find out the crime or the death is whether antemortem or postmortem, whether it is wet drowning or dry drowning. Next one and the last one is systematics. So systematics is the study of how the plants interact with each other. So this is the basic applications of forensic botany. So let me explain one by one. Plant systematics. Plant systematic is the study of plant diversity that includes taxonomy and plant evolutionary relationship. So that is referred as plant systematics. And this is the study how the plants are currently classified or grouped based on different morphological characteristics. So when the two species or two plants look similar and it is not able to differentiate them clearly, then we can use the help of systematics and how they are classified, according to what characteristics they are classified. All those things we can identify, or if we learn these things, it is very helpful to identify the species. Next is palynology. So I said earlier, it is the study of plant pollen and the species identification based on the pollen characteristics. So the pollen from different flowering plant species can be useful in forensic caseworks. So let me explain one case study. So in Auckland, that is in New Zealand, a woman alleged that the suspect had raped her in an alleyway few meters away from his car. And the suspect has claimed that he never moved out of his car and nor this is entered in the mentioned alleyway. He strongly pointed out that he never had a sexual intercourse with this particular victim, and the soil found on his clothes is on the other place. Then the investigating officer, what he had done is that he collected the soil samples from both mentioned the alleyway and the suspect mentioned the driveway. And the analysis of these soil samples, which also contains the pollen grains, proves the sexual assault taken place in the alleyway. And the pollen grains or the soil sample from the suspected cloth was of the alleyway, which was mentioned earlier which was alleged by the woman or the victim. Thus, the suspect was convicted later on the basis of this evidence. So, this is a great example for pollen grains as an evidence, which we are using to solve the crime cases. And the third one is plant ecology. So, the use of plant growth patterns and habitat to infer information regarding the geographical restrictions for plant populations, distribution patterns is a part of plant ecology. So, this area can be helpful in the forensic science to gauge the skeletal remains and the age of that skeletal remains. So, if we learn the plant successions and their growth patterns, we can easily identify these things. So, that is plant ecology. Next is limnology. So, limnology is the study of aquatic life from the freshwater lakes, ponds and streams, and this is called as limnology. So, limnology may be useful for associating the victim and suspect to general allocation based on the algal composition on the clothing and shoes. So, for example, for indicating the freshwater drowning based on the presence and absence of diatoms. So, that is called as limnology. Then we can say some examples for like plant biotechnologies and bioinformatics and the relationship with these in forensic botany. So nowadays the molecular markers or these genetics and databases are having more importance. So here comes the importance of plant biotechnology and bioinformatics. So we have so many databases like plant expression database, plant GDB, Graminae, PGD, PGFGB, etc. So in this database, the genome patterns of the species of these plants are available. For example, I can say you can type www.graminae.org. So this database Graminae is used for the comparative analysis. So it is comparative genome mapping database for grasses. So you can find out the DNA genome or the DNA or the DNA profiles of the grasses from this one. So if you have any doubts in comparing the species of the particular grass, you can go to this database and check for it, and you can compare. So these are the applications of forensic botany, or you can say these are the subspecialties of forensic botany. So we completed two topics, that is the definition of forensic botany and the subspecialties of forensic botany. Next we will move on to the next topic, that is botanical evidences. So what are botanical evidences? Botanical evidences are the evidences or the samples which are related to plants and parts of plants. So what are the sources of these botanical evidences? Botanical samples can serve a key piece of trace evidence. So as I said, botanical evidence is a transfer evidence, and the sources of botanical evidence include pollen grains, leaves, petioles and all the parts of plants. So these types of evidences can be found at all the crime scene, but may be like particularly informative, we can say that in outdoor crime scenes. So we have two types of crime scene, outdoor crime scene and indoor crime scene, and these botanical evidences we are encountering from the outdoor crime scene most probably. So the plant matters can be formed from stomach contents, wood from a tree embedded in the undercarriage of the automobiles, etc. All these can be the source of botanical evidences. So it may be present on the suspected articles like clothes, shoes, body, in mud, soil, water, wherever it is. And the transfer of botanical evidences from the scene of crime, victim, suspect, there is a linkage triangle. So the evidence linkage triangle provide the importance of botanical evidences. So botanical evidence can be transferred by direct deposit or by secondary transfer. So what is direct deposit? Direct deposit means the seeds being transferred to clothing by direct contact, or the stains by direct pressure, or the pollens or on the shoes after brushing against a flowering shrub. So direct contact, if any evidence are transferring to us, that is called as direct deposit. And the secondary transfer may establish a direct link between an individual and a crime, and secondary transfer of botanical evidence may be possible with some wind dispersed pollen or seeds like that. So you know that pollen grains are dispersed by animals, water, wind and all those things. Or animals and bird intermediates play a significant role in the secondary transfer. So these are the two types of transfer, that is direct deposit and secondary deposit. So this is how the botanical evidences are transferring. Next is the recognition of botanical evidence in a crime scene. So the first thing in we are entering to an investigation in the crime scene, that is the recognition of evidences. So you know that there are two types of crime scene, that is a primary crime scene and a secondary crime scene. So at primary crime scene, botanical evidence may can see. And when this body is transferring to another secondary crime scene, then what will happen? The pollen grains, for example, the pollen grains from the primary crime scene, it can carry to the secondary crime scene. Thus, we can link the primary crime scene and secondary crime scene. So, coming to the collection of botanical evidences, there are 4 steps. First one is, of course, it is recognition. So, recognition and locating the crime scene is the most important part of the evidence. So in the crime scene, you have to locate and recognize the evidence. After recognizing the evidence, you have to document it. For example, if you are getting a pollen grain from the crime scene, so you have to document from where you got it, what was the situation or the condition of that particular pollen grain, and what was the size of that pollen grain. Is it so microscopic or it is big, like that. So that is documenting. So first step is recognition. Second step is documentation. So documentation of the evidence can be of 3-4 types. That is note taking. You can document using note taking, or you can photograph it, or you can videograph it, or you can sketch that one. So that is documentation steps. Next is collection. So collection include like you can collect the botanical evidence or any type of evidence using gloves, and also you have to take all the necessary precautions because it may be like in trace amounts. So you have to collect without any contamination. Then you have to preserve it without any contamination. If there is any contamination in collecting or preserving, if anything fault occur, then that will affect the analysis part. Last part is transportation. So after preserving, you have to transport the particular evidence to the forensic science laboratory. One most important thing you have to check while collecting the sample, you have to collect both question sample and control sample. Control sample is a reference sample. So when we are collecting any type of evidence, you have to collect both question sample from the victim and the suspect, and also the control sample from the crime scene. Next is the value of botanical evidences. How important botanical evidence is. What botanical evidences can do. So botanical evidence can determine the circumstances and the cause of death. So by doing the post-mortem, we can identify what is the cause of death. So if it is by any poisonous plants, you can understand this from the stomach contents. What was the last meal that person had taken, or whether in what stage of digestion it is. All those things we can identify from the post-mortem report. Then estimate time frames in relation to death, that is from skeletal remains and all. Then establishes where the death has been occurred, or is there any multiple crime scene. That's why I told earlier like about primary crime scene and secondary crime scene. Then it proves or disproves the alibi and place a suspect at the scene of crime. So these are the value of botanical evidences. That means some of the applications, it is useful in the examination of gastric contents in the homicidal cases. It can help to determine whether the contents of or the location of the victim's last meal or the post-mortem interval or the stage of digestion, everything. And most importantly, in drowning cases, so whether it is a dry drowning or whether it is a wet drowning, we can identify all those things by getting if diatoms are getting as a botanical evidence. So these are the applications of botanical evidences. Next, we'll see what are the advantages of botanical evidences. So the plant evidence are long lasting, which means that plant parts to remain identifiable for very long period of time. It is because you all know plant cells are made up of cellulose, that is a complex carbohydrate compound. So cellulose are nearly indestructible and do not decay quickly. Because of this, botanical evidences can last or resistant, they are called as decay resistant. So these are the advantages of botanical evidences. Next is like these sometimes they are not noticeable. That is the main disadvantage. Like pollen grains, the like even the investigating officer are also like they are not enough well aware of these kind of pollen grains and diatoms, all those things. That is the main disadvantage of this botanical evidence. So this is about forensic botany, just an introduction I was telling in this session. So I think you are clear about what is forensic botany, what are the applications of forensic botany, what is botanical evidence, how to collect it, and what are the advantages of the botanical evidences. So let me conclude here, and if you have any doubts you are free to ask, and let me
Thank you.